In December 2025, this incident at first looked like an ordinary traffic accident. A cold winter day, the Boca Bekabad Highway, quiet surroundings, very little traffic. Near the evening, a Nexia 3 vehicle struck a 43-year-old man. Normally, cases like this end the same way. The driver stops, an ambulance is called, the police arrive, and the incident is officially documented. If that procedure had been followed that day, this story would never have become a true crime case. But this time, the man behind the wheel was a law enforcement officer, and from the very first minutes, a chain of wrong decisions began. When the man was lying on the ground after being hit, he was still alive. He was breathing, trying to make sounds, and showing signs of movement in his arms and legs. The driver panicked, but did not immediately call an ambulance. Instead, he turned the car and began driving toward an emergency medical facility. From the outside, this might look like the right decision, but the most important detail is this: no official call to emergency services was made. The car kept moving, time kept passing. For approximately 20 minutes they were on the road. Those 20 minutes became one of the heaviest moments in this entire case, because the injured man was alive, and during that time, professional medical help could have saved him. Detectives always ask the same question in situations like this. If they were heading toward medical help, why was no official call made? Why did the vehicle never reach the hospital entrance? These questions are what turn an ordinary traffic accident into a criminal case. After 20 minutes, the driver changed his decision. Called his wife. On the phone, he asked her to come to a specific location in her Matisse vehicle. That phone call became the second major turning point of the case, because this was no longer about seeking help, but about preparing to hide what had happened. His wife arrived in the Matisse. She became part of what followed. Even then, everything could have been stopped. The injured man was still alive, but another decision was made. The injured man was moved from the Nexia 3 into the Matisse. From a detective's perspective, this is a very clear signal. Changing vehicles means destroying evidence, disturbing the scene, and attempting to avoid responsibility. From this moment on, the incident stopped being a simple accident. It became a hidden crime. The goal was no longer to help, but to erase traces. The Matisse drove away from the scene. They did not choose a nearby location. They did not stay within the city. Instead, they traveled 35 to 40 kilometers. That distance was not accidental. It shows there was time to think, time to decide, and time to plan. Eventually, the car reached a canal. Once at the canal, the situation became even more serious. The injured man was taken out of the vehicle. He was still alive. He was breathing. Then he was dragged approximately 30 meters toward the water. That distance matters. It takes time. It takes effort. And most importantly, it shows deliberate action. Even at that moment, everything could have been stopped, but it was not. It is reported that the injured man was still alive when he was thrown into the water. This detail makes the case significantly more severe. From that moment on, the man became officially missing. Days passed, then weeks. Search operations began, but they led nowhere. For 27 days, the body was never found. This made the investigation even more complex. The questions only multiplied. Why was an ambulance never called? Why were 20 crucial minutes lost? Why was the injured man moved into another vehicle? Why did a law enforcement officer involve his wife? Why was a canal chosen? Why was the man dragged 30 meters? And why was such a long distance traveled? Each of these questions shows that this was not an accident. Phone calls, vehicle movements, time gaps, and distance all become critical evidence for investigators. Every decision exposes the next one. This case caused major public outrage because it involved someone who was supposed to enforce the law. If a person in authority tries to hide such an act, and even involves family members, the question becomes unavoidable. Who can the public trust? Even today, this story is not finished. The body has not been found. Some questions remain unanswered. But one thing is clear. This was not a simple traffic accident. It was a chain of conscious decisions made at moments when help was still possible. 20 minutes, one phone call, changing vehicles, dragging a man 30 meters, and water. All of it was part of an attempt to escape the truth. But hiding a crime is the greatest mistake, because no matter how long the truth is delayed, it always comes out. The only question is, when?